Hi guys, it's another video. This time we are going to talk about some of the more specific things in the crafting document. I'm going to go through some of the custom items in here, and then I'll also talk about special qualities that items can have and special materials that they can be made out of. The first one here, you've got a link to the Troll Crusher document, which I'll pull up for you. Troll Crusher is an item that was created back in Hugh's game, and it's a lot of fun because it's super fragile and it explodes and destroys the person who is trying to carry it. Basically, you'll see that these things are basically the size of a liter bottle of soda. They can fit on your bandolier. Here's the damage they do on a direct hit, an area of splash that they do. We're using just the splash weapon rules here. So this isn't like a fireball. It's more like an alchemist bomb. So the direct target of the Troll Crusher takes the majority of the damage, but there is a splash area around it as well. The splash weapon rules are linked here, and these are straight out of Pathfinder just for determining how things work and where things end up if you miss and that sort of thing. It's all pretty intuitive, but it's linked here if you want to read about it. Pathfinder also includes rules. If you roll a natural 1 on a saving throw versus magic, some of your stuff might get destroyed. And again, this is all straight out of Pathfinder. All I've done is added Troll Crusher as the very first item in this list of things that might get destroyed. So if that situation happens, that you're in a fireball and you roll a natural 1, we roll to see what might be affected. If you have Troll Crusher on you, that's what got affected. I've got in the rules here, even if you've got the Troll Crusher stowed in your backpack, between 6 blankets, it still appears on this chart at the position 5.5 between magic cloak and stowed or sheathed weapon. So I still try to find it even if you try to hide it from me. There's also rules for if you fail a reflex save versus magic and you take body, you'll get another save, but this isn't if you roll a natural 1, then use this rule. But if you just fail the save and you're carrying Troll Crusher around, you get another save that's modified by the number of Troll Crusher bottles that you're carrying. Again, if you fail it, basically you treat the Troll Crusher like a direct hit on the player that's carrying it, the character that's carrying it. And this applies to NPCs as well. If you're terrified to carry this stuff around, keep in mind that the crazy orcs that you encounter in my world are definitely not scared to carry it around, so they will be throwing it at you, whether you choose to throw it at them or not. The last thing is if you have fire, acid, or falling damage that results in body damage, very similar to the spot just before here, you get another save based on how many Troll Crusher bottles you're carrying to see if any of them blow up. If you take enough damage from the Troll Crusher into an item, there are actually rules for how broken items function. And again, all of this is linked and all of it's written right into the Pathfinder rules. I didn't have to come up with anything original here. So that's Troll Crusher. Alchemists can make it. It's for sale in stores, and it's really fun to carry around. So I recommend that everyone carry 3 or 4 or 5 of them. Another thing that's linked here under calligraphy, we've got the lesser talismans. Again, this is straight out of Pathfinder. One of the splat books created these things. They started out as little fetishes that you wear around your neck and that use up your neck slot. I have decided that they're tattoos or paintings that you put on your armor. They're about the size of your palm, and they have these different effects. You can go through here and see. All of these are available to somebody who knows how to craft them. With the exception of the one called, it's basically a resurrection one. Let's see what it is called here. Here, I guess I should zoom in on this document so you guys can see it better. There's no life's breath that's on the list, but all the rest are on there. They're on the crafting calculation tab, so you can see how much it costs for you to make them. And then the tattoo artist in Jones Valley also can paint them on you. You can look at the shopping list to see which magic inks she has available. She can't always do all of them. You can have up to 3 of these tattoos somewhere on your body. They have to be visible to people. So you either paint them on your armor or on your arm or some bit of exposed skin. But you can have a total of 3 of them, and they don't really take up a body slot location. Once one's triggered, you can reset it as a swift action, or you can change it as a full round action if you realize, hey, I've got this one loaded up, but considering I'm fighting a black dragon, maybe I should put up my glyph of acid protection or whatever. You can also unlock a secret 4th body slot for you to keep a tiny secret rune glyph on under your tongue. All you have to do is sacrifice a permanent body point, and that'll unlock the secret spot under your tongue for a secret rune glyph. Obviously, some of the NPCs will be doing that. And that really is all you need to know about these things. Again, they're linked. I don't think there's anything confusing about how they operate, but if you have questions, you can put them in the thread that will have this video out on the boards. Next, under cooking, I've created a list of special meals and drinks. This is sort of inspired by the Pathfinder video games. If you've ever played them, they stop to camp and they make different foods that have different effects. So I've created some as well. This list has probably grown since the last time you looked at it. It's also out there on the crafting calculator sheet. And these will grow over time. You can use your downtime to invent more if you'd like to as well. And then I think we just have one more thing to talk about here. I've talked about the status ring before in another video. I think it's really straightforward. And also the regular and masterwork containers, a little bit complicated there, so I made a separate video to cover those that you can go find if you're interested in them. Lastly, you see this reference to this crafting tables document. Inside of it, you'll find a few things. First off, there's skill titles for different ranks. So if you've got 4 ranks of a particular skill, you're called an expert. That's fun to know, but it actually has some actual mechanical relevance to the game that I'll talk about in just a second. Also, anytime you... So the book includes a very simple chart for special qualities for all kinds of items, not just weapons. And we can roll on it if you'd like, if you go buy something at a store just to see if it happens to glow or have some cool design on it or whatever. But more interestingly, I think, if you craft your own weapon, then I've got a chart here that you don't have to roll on, but you're welcome to. The first time you add a +1 bonus to a weapon that you crafted, you can roll on this chart and see if it comes away with some sort of spontaneous, cool weapon quality. This doesn't make it more expensive. It doesn't make it harder to add things to in the future. And it might give you some kind of neat bonus if you're interested in it. Although you might, about half the time, about 10% of the time, it comes away with a light spell that's always on. I can imagine that might be the one thing that you didn't love on this chart. And if you happen to roll that it's intelligent and you don't want it to be, I would probably let you roll again. I can understand how you might not be interested in that, but I think it might be funny. Lastly, this is a list of all the special materials that things can be made out of in my game. The ones with the links are straight out of the book and they work just like they do in the book. So all you got to do is follow the link to go see what they do. It's worth reading these, even if you think you know what they do. For instance, if you weren't aware, an alchemical silver weapon does 1 less point of damage than normal. So it's a -1 to damage if you silver a weapon. If I knew that at one time, I had forgotten it. And I was reminded of it as I went through and created this document. So again, if you're interested in this stuff, you might want to go look at it. The skill requirement to craft with these materials is over here in the far right-hand column. The vendors in Jones Valley can produce anything of Apprentice 2 or Novice 1. You don't have to provide the materials to them. They've got them themselves, but you will have to pay the extra cost associated with them if you want that. So if you want silver weapons or cold iron weapons, they can produce those for you. You'll just have to pay for it. And obviously, if you've got 2 ranks in the crafting skill, then you can do that as well yourself. The way the rest of this chart works is described down here underneath it. But basically, anytime you enter an unexplored area of the appropriate environment, so caves and underground or forests and jungles or whatever, and you're willing to take a little bit of time to look around, which means you might not be being as vigilant in, you know, guarding yourself from whatever. So maybe while you're taking a break, somebody stands guard and somebody else kind of searches the local area for these things. Then I've got a little secret chart that I'll share with Landis to determine whether you find any of these things around. Now, obviously, things like bone you can just harvest from something with a skeleton that you killed. So I'm not, you know, that's not a big deal. But if you're looking for something that's hard to find, like mithril or star metal, something like that, then you're going to want me to roll on the chart, see if it's there. If it is there, then you'll make a skill roll against a DC 15, and it shows the associated skill here. And if you succeed at it, again, this is all written down here. If you succeed at it, you'll come away with enough of that material to make an item. If you succeed by 10 or more, then you'll get another use of that. And that's basically it. So as you're traveling around, just like you can harvest magical capital from things you kill, you can look around your environment to see if there's materials that you could mine. So even things like dire hides are on my chart. You can say, hey, I'll look around, and one of the results on my chart might be, hey, you can see that there are tracks of dire animals in the area. Do you want to take the time to hunt them down and take their hides off of them? So this will be the way that you gather that kind of stuff if you need it. And again, just like magical capital, you might find some of this stuff as loot when you go to the big bad's lair and kill him and all his minions. You might find a box full of blood crystal or whatever. The 5 or 6 items on here that are original from my game, Bright Coral, Fey Glass, Direhide, and so on, are listed down here, and there's a description of what they do, how they work, what they cost, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to try to read this to you, but I don't think it's particularly confusing. It is worth mentioning that a couple of these items, it is an evil act to even create them. Bitter Steel comes to mind because it is forged in the blood and tears of the innocent. So that makes it really fun to use. Good characters can't even pick up. It's like Thor's hammer. They can't even pick up Bitter Steel. So, you know, no worries about any good clerics swinging Bitter Steel around. I believe that is everything I was going to cover in this video. So, yay, I finally made a moderately short video. And I'll get to the next one soon. Thanks.